Okay, Guruji, everyone. Happy Karva Chauth to everybody. So I figured I would start my journey with Guruji by sharing with you how I connected with him. In 2013 or 14, my mom had gone to a Satsang, and she calls me right after, and she's like, I'm coming to drop off Guruji's picture. I was in college at the time, so she said she was coming to drop it off to my dorm. At the time, me and her were both very much into Buddhist chanting. So I was like, okay. So she comes, she drops off this picture. She's like, I just came from the satsang. It was incredible. I've never felt such a thing. Keep this picture and just talk to him when you feel, just anything, just talk to him. So I was like, okay. Like, I was still a kid, but I was a kid then. So I put it in the corner next to my bed, and I moved on with the day. Then a few weeks later, she calls me, and she had forced me for like 2 years. She was on top of me to wear those astrologer rings that you get. So I had one emerald on my pinky, and I had one pearl or something on my other pinky. And so she calls me one day, and she's like, you have to remove those rings. And coming from her, I was a little nervous hearing that, because she used to wear those rings on every single finger, all over her toes. She was like, she would go to astrologers at like 2 in the morning. I don't know what she used to do. But so coming from her, I got a little nervous hearing that. I was like, why? She says, Guruji said, if you're with me, you don't need any of these rings. You don't need any of that. So take them all off and just have faith in me. So I hung up the phone with her, and I looked at Guruji's picture that was sitting on my bedside, and I just rolled my eyes. I was like, yeah, like this is crazy. Whatever. So I went on with the day. I had gone out with my friends at night, and the next morning I wake up, and underneath my ring, it was a little itchy. And I totally forgot the conversation I had had with my mom the day before. And I look at it, and it was a little red. I was like, okay, I must have like gotten something in it. So I washed it, I put it back on, and continued. The next day I woke up, and it was throbbing underneath where the stone was touching my finger. My finger was actually throbbing, and it was like blue and purple almost. And I suddenly remembered that she had told me, he had said that, and I'm sitting here rolling my eyes at the picture. And so I was like, I got freaked out a little. I was like, okay, so I took both of them off, and that was my first experience with Guruji. And while I was in college, at that time, my bed was pushed against the front wall of the house. So there was a patio there. So at night, when people were coming back from going out at night, I could hear what was going on the streets. So I was having issues with a friend at the time, and when I go to sleep, my head hits the pillow and I'm out. I don't wake up at all. I have no trouble sleeping. Even one time the fire alarm went off in our apartment a few months back, and I slept through it. I didn't even know. So one night, I suddenly wake up. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I just like shot out of bed as though someone had like slapped me across the face or something. And I shot out of bed, and I just sat there, and I was like, okay, this is weird. Why am I awake? And I suddenly hear 2 people talking in the house next door, but my bed was pushed against a wall so much that I could hear everything. And it was that same friend that I was having issues with, and I could hear everything that they were saying. And Guruji I felt like he had woken me up to kind of hear what was going on, so I got my answers through that, basically. So that was my second experience. And then I slowly started, I was like, okay, there's something here, there's something going on. So I was applying for internships. I was a junior in college, and there was one, the school sends you those emails like, oh, this company is looking for something, whatever. So I had seen one for Christian Louboutin, but it was in their accounting department. So I was like, oh, that would be cool. Like, it's a designer, for those of you who don't know. So I was like, oh, that could be cool, like fancy shoes. So, but I saw it was in accounting, so I didn't even apply because I was a finance major at the time. So I didn't apply for it, and then a week later, I get an email from them, and they're like, oh, some professor has sent us your resume, would you come in for an interview? So I went in, and things went well, I liked it, and I asked them, I was like, do you mind telling me which professor sent in my resume? Because I don't remember ever giving my resume to any professor. She's like, yeah, we'll look into it, we'll ask our HR lady. Never heard anything. And then I started the internship, and it was supposed to be unpaid, and nobody's really happy about an unpaid internship. So I was sitting there on my bed, and I was talking to my mom, and I was like, Mom, it's unpaid, like, that stinks. And she was like, okay, like, talk to Guruji, maybe he'll help. The next day, I went in to start my first day at the internship, and they're like, oh, we've decided instead of giving you just, like, your stipend to come in, we're going to pay you, like, on an hourly rate. So I was so thrilled. Guruji took care of me there, and even throughout my internship there, I kept asking, where did you get my resume from? They would always put it off, oh, we'll look into it, I have to check the record, I have to check this. Never heard anything. So I guess this was my professor who submitted my resume. After that, I had graduated from college. Guruji had gotten me a job at JP Morgan in Delaware. So I was working there, and I was also studying for the LSAT. So my goal in life was to be a better lawyer than my mom. That's my challenge in life. So I was studying for the LSAT at the time, and I had just graduated from college, so for any Indian parent, your kid graduates from college, the wedding bells, sirens go off. You're like, okay, time to get married. So she was sitting there talking to me about, she's like, okay, you really should start settling down, like maybe you should look for someone, I really want you to meet someone from the temple, I'm praying to Guruji a lot, that you meet someone, and I was like, okay, like I'm studying for my LSAT, I want to focus on that, I want to get into a good law school, that was my main goal. So while my mom was praying for that, I was praying to Guruji, and I was like, Guruji, please just give me, I want a 170 on my LSAT, because with the 170 you can get in pretty much anywhere. So I was like, I don't care about getting married, I just want to get that 170, and you can push me off getting married till I'm 28, 29, I don't care, but please just give me this 170. He didn't give me the 170, which now looking back I'm so grateful. But, so just to rewind a little, parallel to all of this going on, I had seen Aruj, my uncle. This sounds so weird. But I had seen him he had started coming to the temple, and I had seen him, and I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, who's that? Like, he's so cute. And she knows everyone, of course she doesn't know the one person I have an interest in. So she's like, I have no idea. I was like, okay, that's not helpful. So we had a satsang at our home, and he had come, and we started talking there, and I thought, we hit it off pretty well. I was like, I'm pretty cute, he was cute. I thought he would ask for my number or something. Nothing happened. So I was like, that's weird. So all girls are nuts, so I looked him up on Facebook. And I was like, okay, he doesn't have a girlfriend. Why isn't this guy messaging me? Nothing. So an entire year had gone by, and that's now fast forwarding to when I was praying to Guruji that, please just give me the 170, I don't want anything else. Right after I had prayed to him about that, a couple weeks or maybe a month later, Kanika and Nathan had gotten married. So I had gone to their reception, and an entire year after not seeing each other, I see this guy, and he comes over. At first he tries to talk to my mom, because he was trying to be smooth and good for her. And from then on, things just went, and we got engaged, and with Guruji's grace, he led us through everything so beautifully, and sorry, I just want to make sure I'm saying it. So then we had gotten engaged, and this was now a year after that. So with Guruji's grace, we got engaged, and that was the first time anyone has ever surprised me ever, because I'm an FBI agent, and I can't be surprised with anything. And he managed to pull it off. So we got engaged, and then a month or two after that, so I hadn't gotten the 170 on my LSAT. I actually only got 1 point better than what I had done the first time. So I had only applied to one school. I wanted to go to Fordham, and I wanted to go part-time because I wanted to work full-time. So there was a day in November, and on Facebook they have those National Pizza Day or taco, those national days that they randomly have. So one day my mom's friend tags me in something, and it said National Sabrina Day. And I was like, oh my god, that's so crazy. I saw a picture of it somewhere. And that same day, after I looked at that, I got an email from Fordham saying, you've been accepted in our first round of acceptances. They only accept 50 or 60 kids or something into it. So that was the greatest day. So with Guruji's grace, I not only didn't get that score, I met a great man, and I also got into the school that I wanted to get into. And it's not to say that he didn't test me and put me through a lot of, tests along the way. He knows I'm not patient, so he made sure to teach me many lessons in patience throughout the way. Then now nearing our wedding time, after that we were getting ready for all the wedding preparations. growing up, I was very close to every single person in my mom's side of the family. I had my own special relationship with everyone. During that time, our family was a little... Everyone was like kind of fighting or whatever. So I was a little upset about it, because then it trickles down to the kids a little. And me and my one cousin, who was like my sister growing up, I wanted her to be at my wedding and everything, but it was just like, you know how families get, you just fight, whatever. So I would pray to Guruji and I'd be like, this is really annoying, like we should all be together for like this wedding coming up, and I have my own special relationship with every single person, so it was especially hard for me. So one day we had a satsang at the house, and I don't even know how it happened, but everybody showed up after not talking for so long. Everybody showed up, and then from then on, it was as though like nothing had ever happened. Like we were back in full form, and if you had told anyone before that like, oh, this family like, wouldn't be talking to each other, they would never believe you. That's how close we were. And even today, our entire family comes to the temple. We're all... Aunty said I couldn't cry, but I keep and we all come to the temple. Guruji's brought in each one of my family members in his own way. So I know that under his sharan, like we'll always be together. And I feel very grateful for that. Then even as the wedding went on, the way things happened, it was just like, everything was just flawless. It was like he was holding our hand throughout the entire thing. It was a Punjabi wedding. You expect some sort of fight, some sort of something. There was absolutely, there was just nothing. It was as though he was literally there just holding our hands through everything. And I know I'm saying that I'm the bride, so you expect that, but even we would ask other people, and they felt the same exact way. And me and Aruj, we've always kind of, when I was born, there was a huge snowstorm. So me and Aruj, anything he plans for me, somehow or another, it's always snowing. Always. Like even my birthday, it'll snow. He'll take me out somewhere 3 days later, it'll snow. Like it's just nuts. So even on our wedding day, the forecast was predicted that it was supposed to rain. And he was joking with everybody, he's like, it's gonna snow. And I was like, no, it's gonna rain, and then like it'll clear up, it'll be fine. And right when he got on the horse for his barat, it started snowing, up until he came in, and then the snow stopped. So in our eyes, like we felt that was, Guruji there, showering his blessings on us. So, and then even after the wedding, finding our apartment, he helped us find such a great place. Aruj was stuck on having a balcony. I was stuck on having big windows. My mom was stuck on a good price. Guruji gave us all of that in one. It's just anything that he has done for us, whatever I can say, it will never be enough. Because he has just held our hand through everything and given us more than we even deserve. Even after we got married, I was praying for my uncle's job, and he ended up getting a new one with Guruji's grace. It was things that we were looking for, and it was perfect. And looking back now, when I used to pray to Guruji that, I just want to go to law school, I want to do everything, and then I'll get married when I'm 28, 29, 30, whatever. I look back at that, and I'm like, I don't know how I would have done that, because it's hard, like working full-time and then going to school at night. And especially law school, it's like reading all this stuff all the time. And Guruji knew that I wouldn't be able to do that alone. And he gave me such a good husband. He gave me such a good husband who takes care of me, and he knows that I look like I'm 25, but deep down I'm like 85 years old. I can't hang out late, like party, I can't do all of that anymore. And he knows, he'll be like, Sab, it's 10:30, you gotta get in bed. And he forces me to do things that I know I should do, but I don't necessarily always do to take care of myself. Even in the mornings, you know, if I'm running late, he'll get up quickly too, and he'll start like helping me make lunch or something. Like, he's always asking me, "Did you eat? Did you do this? Did you do your readings?" Even with schoolwork, he's like that. So I feel like Guruji's kind of given me a human form of something that Guruji himself is trying to tell me too. Like, okay, you need to be reading, you need to be eating, you need to be taking care of yourself. And I feel very grateful for that. And even as an only child, I grew up, my mom was my everything. I followed her around all the time. I was her doll, and I just went everywhere she went. So Guruji is, and I was close to both of my dads too. So Guruji has given me a person who, even sometimes when he speaks, I feel like sometimes he's talking like my mom. And I know that sounds a little weird, but it makes me feel nice that Guruji he's handpicked such a good person for me. Even like when I come back from getting my eyebrows done, he'll be like, that's like what my mom does when I used to come home. My mom would be like, okay, I don't like how she did this. So it's just small things. Guruji always is with me, taking care of me. And he's given me such a beautiful family of my mom and my second mom and second dad now. And Ajit, hello, oh my god. He's given me a great family. He's taken such good care of all of us, and he's always with us. And anything I can say will never cover how much he's done for me, how much he's given me, and I feel truly, truly blessed to come under his sharan. And I just have one quick last satsang to share. My mom, when I was living with my mom, she has Guruji's picture everywhere. So growing up in this country, most of my friends are American. They're all white. So they would always come over and they'd be like, "Oh, who's this guy you have everywhere?" They would call me this guy. So I'd be like, "Oh, this is, our guru." And growing up here, you feel kind of, how do I explain this to them? Because you know all of this, but like, how do you explain it to like your American friends, something like that? So I'd get kind of like this thing, like I don't know how to explain it. I would feel a little like shy or something. And then I started realizing he helps so many people, and he does such great things for so many people that, he could help my friends too. So one of my friends, she has a brother, and her father had passed away from a very rare stomach cancer, and his best friend also passed away from a very rare stomach cancer recently. So her brother had gone into like very serious depression. He was always upset, wouldn't leave the house. And he was in college at the time. So she calls me one day and she's like, "Sabs, are you good at calculus?" And I was like, okay, just because I'm Indian doesn't mean I'm good at calculus. Like, I'm going to law school for a reason, so I don't have to look at that. But I was like, but I have friends who are good at it. So like, what do you need? She's like, my brother has his calc final, and because of everything that's going on, he's very like nervous about it. He doesn't think he's going to do well. So can you call him and help him? I was like, sure. So I called him, and he was like, my final's tomorrow. I was like, okay, what can you do if I thought it was maybe like a month from now or something like that. He goes, it's tomorrow. I was like, uh-oh. So I gave him two of my friends' numbers. I was like, if you have issues with like certain things you're going over, call them, maybe they can help. And I gave him some website number. And I was like, I know this might sound a little weird. And I sent him Guruji's picture. I texted it to him. I was like, but print this picture out. I was like, this is the guru that me and my family follow. And he has completely changed my life, like done a 180. I was like, he's the only person who can help you. I was like, as much as you want to rely on websites and my friends who are good at calculus, like, he's the only one who can help you. I was like, I know it sounds weird, but please just keep his picture next to you while you take your exam. And he goes, okay, like, thank you so much. So I was like, good luck. The next day I call him and he goes, oh my God, you won't believe it. I was like, what? He's like, so it was an online exam, but the timer starts and then you have an hour to complete it, and you can't click on any windows or use any other cheat sheets or anything like that. So he goes, I clicked my timer and the exam started. He said, I kept the picture you told me to. I clicked the timer, my exam started, but the timer never started. He said the timer never went. So he was taking his exam for like 3-4 hours. And he was able to sit and properly think through everything. He was like, the timer just never started. I don't know what happened to it. He's like, but the exam was fine. I submitted it. Everything was good. And he ended up passing the class, and he ended up graduating because he had passed that class. Because if he didn't pass that class, he wouldn't have graduated. So even now, I was talking to him like a month ago, and he's been going through even more depression and things like that. And I told him, I was like, you really should come to the temple. I was like, you don't have to do anything here. You don't have to like give money or like do anything like that. You just sit, you eat, you listen to the songs, and then you go home. And he's having trouble even leaving his house. That's how far it's gotten. So he was like slowly but he's like, I've been thinking about your guru while I'm sitting at home sometimes, and I really do want to come, and I feel like once I can take the step to like go farther, I definitely want to come. So hopefully soon we'll see him here too. But it just goes to show that Guruji helps everyone, and you should share your satsangs with people, what he's done for you, because you never know where that satsang can help someone else too. So Guruji is everything. He's the greatest parent, best friend, everything. No offense. But he is. And just don't leave his feet, surrender everything to him, and he really does take care of you, even more than you'd ever expect. Jai Guruji.